Grand Risings family. Heru Mandela. Got an extraordinary piece of work coming out March 1st. My Ancestors' Hero, Volume 1. It'll be streaming on all platforms. It is a 13-song album that I believe the ancestors will be proud to hear when it drops again March 1st. Straight to it. You tired of hearing about the same heroes every Black History Month? Join me on my YouTube channel, Heru Mandela. These scholars, brothers and sisters that I will be, I can't say summing up, because these people dedicated their lives to their specific work that they were doing, but that I'll be pointing you in a direction to. The best knowledge is self-knowledge. We have to do something. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. One of her greatest works, I believe, is the ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors. This is a great book explaining white supremacy from a psychologist frame of mind and a psychologist's theory on why white supremacy exists today. So again, there's no way that I could sum up the work that Dr. Frances did in a 20-minute video, but I would like to point you in the direction to, even if you don't believe her, just listen to her theory. She called it a theory. You would have heard nothing like it. I see people searching for the answers to why. Big questions like this, and they would ask news personalities or athletes. Not saying that they wouldn't know the answer. They're not intelligent enough to know the answer. There's a certain way to think. There's a certain way to train your brain, or to have your brain trained to think outside the box. Psychologists, they're very much so trained to think outside the box. So that's why I'm saying you need to hear the things that she came up with on her long distance race for liberation. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing is a psychiatrist, an author, lecturer, and a worldwide scholar. To me, she represents the greatness of African women born in America. To me, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing represents the greatness of African women born in America. She was born in Chicago. She's lectured all over the world. So you don't have to ask credentials. You know, she taught at Howard for a long time. She was fired a couple of times based on some theory papers that she wrote. But understand, explaining white supremacy is not gonna look pretty. It's not gonna sound very nice. but such as white supremacy. She believes firmly, you go look at all the videos that you can on YouTube, she believes firmly that we are in a war. And gives impeccable examples of this modern day warfare. It is a lot to swallow. You cannot argue with her facts. You go look them up to make sure that they are facts. But in a lot of her videos, her speaking to the crowd, whatever crowd it was, whether it was a group of students or whether it was a white crowd on a TV show, she spoke the same. I know she went to go live in Germany for a couple of years just so she could study the present day culture of peoples that once oppressed another people, to try to understand the groundworks of a thing such as supremacy. You look at the rate that black men are dying, being killed, imprisoned. Do not let the media fool you, deceive you. These are war numbers. The murders, the deaths, the imprisonments. These are war numbers, the only numbers that come from war. These aren't civilian casualties when you add them up, all the metropolitan cities together. That was something that she stated in the lecture, and I was like, well, you can't argue with that. She believes we have done a poor job at protecting the black man because not enough of us believes we are at war. That would make sense to me if we were raised with a warrior state of mind, if we were raised with a consciousness or orientation to where we're living right now. I believe we would behave differently from the jump, from birth. She wants us to go from mass death to mass resurrection. What does that mean? When I heard her speak, my whole life I had been fed the Martin Luther King and the Malcolm X. That's basically what mainstream feeds you. When I came to her, she was speaking so different, and I didn't understand why until I saw a quote from Malcolm X that said, "There is no surprise that there is a high culture that existed in Africa, and you and I never knew about it." I said, oh, in the 60s, in the civil rights movement, African Americans, called Negroes or colored, did not know who they were before slavery. That information did not exist. You hear me and you talk about, yeah, we're kings and queens. We know a lot about Kemet in Egypt and whatnot. So we have some sort of idea. Now, people like Dr. Frances Cress Welsing flew all over the world. She really knew who we were, knew our cultures, our civilizations, what we... Another time. So she could speak with more certainty of where we need to go. If you don't know what you came from, it is mighty hard. It would take hundreds more years to figure out how to live. But if you have reference material, if you have history, you don't have to do that. You can live like you once did. So she wants us to go from mass death to mass resurrection. She was a psychiatric physician. Okay, so she says the physician side of her would take over sometimes. In the psychiatric field, and she would use terms that applies to a physician and use them as psychiatric practice, such as, if you cannot diagnose the sickness, you cannot treat or repair anything. If you can't diagnose the sickness, you cannot treat or repair anything. Same with white supremacy. It is a sickness, and there is no cure without a diagnosis. So to sum it up, her life was dedicated to the question why. She had to figure out why before she could figure out, okay, what can we do about this? How can we treat this? And of course, turning pages again, my notes. Take notes like I'm back in school. It's real life, y'all. In one lecture, and again, look at all her videos. This is for you. I'm not making this for me. I watch her videos all the time, like rerun episodes of Martin or some shit. She stated in one lecture, as Black people, we greet each other like, hey man, what's going on? Or what's happening, man? What's happening? From a psychologist standpoint, Dr. Francis believes it is because for a long time, we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was happening. So psychologically, hey man, what's going on? Really asking what is going on. She hopes one day we can greet each other like, you know what's going on, don't you? I would have to admit that would feel good to greet my brothers in such a way. You know what's going on, don't you? Yeah, I know. Okay. I believe just in a greeting, that would change what we did in the future. That would change what our children did. Again, she states, look at all the black people dying here in America. This type of death only happens at war. If we do not believe we are at war of immense proportions, if we think we can go about living carefree, my answer to you is you have a mental problem. A mental problem of not facing reality. You are not oriented to the present time. Now, this is what she would diagnose you as. You come in as a patient, you thinking you could live normal, carefree. She'd say, brother, do you not know what's going on? She states, if we misidentify what's going on, we will be destroyed. If we misidentify what's going on, we will be destroyed. Meaning that if you know what's going on, you will know how to defend yourself. At least know how to defend yourself, because trust is coming at all ways. She states in many of her lectures, what she found out over her many years of research. And that was, this is a global system of white supremacy. This is not just an American thing. We need to wrap our heads around this. This will unify us as well. This is a global system of white supremacy. This system is operative in every area of people activity. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, sex, and religion, and war. When I tell you this sister is a genius, just where her mind can go and went, it would lead us to have better discussions about white supremacy, and not ignorant ones. And I'm not using ignorant in a bad way, just with lack of knowledge, you know? So, this global system of white supremacy, this system is operative in every area of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. All people that are classified as non-white were impacted by this severely. At first, I didn't know what she meant. Through my research over these past couple years, I now understand. They came, they colonized the minds of all peoples around the world. They were in China for a long time. They were in Japan for a long time. They were in Africa for a long time. They're still in Africa. British in India for a long time. Spain, Portugal, all the South Americas, Central Americas, everywhere, global. One of the most interesting facts that I heard her speak was that the media in the West makes it seem like people of color are a minority, when in fact 9/10 of the population are people of color. One-tenth of the population. And then even smaller than that, because a lot of white people didn't have anything to do with the construction of global white supremacy. So 1/10 of that maybe convinced you and me, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, that their politics were better, that their God is better, their economic system is better. You see where I'm going. These are the things we need to talk about, brothers and sisters. See, Dr. Francis had more knowledge, more information about who we were than Dr. Martin Luther King and Brother Malcolm X. I believe in the age that we're in, we may, if we diligently look, we may be able to compile more knowledge than Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And there are a lot of people out there helping us get this knowledge. One of her great friends, Dr. Anthony T. Browder, another man, he's still with us, powerful man. Go look at all his videos. He will tell you the truth about who our ancestors were. Anyways, I'm not gonna get off topic. It's Heru Mandela, My Ancestor Hero, Volume 1, coming out March 1st, streaming on all platforms. Love y'all.